Hey everyone, if you are already tuned in, thanks for joining. We've got some questions already, and yes, some very good points. Okay, let me start briefly by talking about what I've been doing for the last week. Last time we did the office hours was last Friday, so it's only been a week. And I've spent this a lot on getting everything ready for the 1.0 release. Not very many features. We squashed a couple of bugs in some plugins as well, and one or two bugs in the main product. So that's basically what's been occupying my time. But the great news is that 1.0 has been released, and I haven't made a big announcement because I want to write a blog post. I haven't actually written a blog post for a long time, but you can check yourself, and if you go to the Saltcorn website, go to the link for the NPM, there you go, 1.0 is out. So I'm going to a party tonight, so I'm going to celebrate. No one else there is doing no code, probably no other programmers, so maybe I'll just stand in the corner and quietly celebrate by myself. But it's been a long slog, and I'm really happy this is out. And you know what? Most of all, I'm happy because this means that I can now start working on some of the features that will be going in on 1.2. In fact, that's why I felt not much has been done. Partly that is because thank you, Roderick. I have been secretly working on a branch, which is the next stuff. So there's a branch here in GitHub, which is whatever is next. And let's see, whatever I've been doing here. So first of all, you can now have icons from plugins, including some Unicode plugins. So the problem here is, where do I have my, let's get into the application. There we go. So you have these icons here, and some of you have probably already figured out that if you have a page or whatever, if you have something, let's say you want an icon here, and you actually have quite a limited selection here, and there's no flexibility, right? So you get an angry face. Now, some of you who love abusing Saltcorn have figured out that you can actually write HTML in here. So you can do like I equals I class equals blah 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 if you want a different icon and if you've loaded those pages, but that requires a certain amount of dedication to having abused what can go in these labels. So if you just do the standard no code thing, then you only had to have this very limited selection. So in the next version, and I've already written the code, there will be plugins for icons plugins or modules, as we call them, will be able to supply plugins. So you've got a lot of plugins here. There's all the there's Bootstrap icons. So that's a lot of icons that you'll now be able to access, and there's other ones. There's Tapler has a plugin pack, and some of the themes as well come with their own plugins. So that will be available, and then also Unicode has a huge selection of stuff that you could potentially use for icons. So the reason why I was bringing this up is that when you have the ability to sort of slightly abuse this label and put in an icon here for buttons and for text, you don't have that ability in the menu. So here, when you have if you want to put an icon in here, well, I guess you might be able to put HTML. I don't know if you can put HTML here. I think you can't. And in any case, in some themes treat that differently. So you probably, it won't look very good if you put in HTML here. If you do like stuff here for, should we try it? Sorry. Let's see what happens if I do this. Let's try this. I don't think it will look very good. Yeah, so it's not coming up. It's probably, I don't know if I get this. I think this is right. Oh. It is coming up here, but it's not showing in the menu, which was the point. So you don't have that flexibility. So that will be huge here. Here again, you'll have access to all of those icons, including Unicode characters that come from the plugins. So that's great. So that's one of the things I'm working on for the next release. And what else are we doing here? This is not the workflows, some minor stuff. Actually, just minor stuff apart from that. So that's the next big feature. Oh yeah, there was something in the builder that I built. Where is this? Oh yeah, you can now have, like, you know, now, oops. If you have a piece of text, you can't, these are sort of mutually exclusive. So you can't have something that's bold and italic. You can do that for free text, because you can just do, like, you can just select the whole thing and do it inside the editor. But it's better to use the text over here. So first of all, you can't do that with fields. So if you have, like, you want some value and you want that to be bold or some field value, you don't have access to those full text things. But you do have, you know, if you have a piece of field. We're in a post now, so you don't get fields. But, you know, you'll be able to do, like, bold and italic for field. I think that's oh, I've become echoey. Let me make sure this is off. Okay, hope that's better. I will try to speak more clearly into the microphone. I've turned off my sound. The other thing is that we actually had very bad internet connection here. And if that goes, then I have my phone on standby, and I can turn that on, so I can do it through the phone. So let me know if the audio continues to be bad. Okay, so those are the things I've been working on. So super happy to be working on post 1.0 features. Now that's out, and 1.0 is released. That's great. And apart from that, just doing some minor stuff on some plugins, squashing some bugs, stuff like that. So we have a bunch of questions. Okay. So again, I will prioritize the ones we have here on the live chat, and then we will. I have some back questions. No change to audio. That's not good. I don't really know what to do. I don't have anything else. Oh, wait. Let's see here. Yeah, this is the right microphone. Okay, hopefully it will go away. I don't know if it's because we've got a bad internet connection. Let me try and turn off Bluetooth. Hopefully this should be good. It's bearable. Great. That's all, you know, those of you who are putting up with building in Saltcorn, bearable is what we're aiming for. Okay, let me try and speak a little bit more clearly and slowly, and we can persevere through the audio issues. And I have no idea why that's happening. If anyone knows, please let me know. If anyone has any theories, I don't have my speakers on. I just have a microphone. Okay, so questions. Let me go to the questions that are on the chat here. Has the Saltcorn website been designed using the Saltcorn tool only? Correct. Absolutely. It's been that case since day one. Should I see if I can log in? How can I log in? I want to prove to you if I can. Let me see, I'm on a different browser here, and if I can log in, I will show you what Saltcorn looks like on the inside. Yeah, it looks good. Does this look good? Okay, this is my Chrome browser. You see the menus up here, pages. Which is the page? That is the home page. New home is the page. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. I can't click edit. Here we go, that's the Saltcorn website. I guess, okay, so what have we done here? Okay, this is not... Oh, first of all, this is a very old version. This site... Let's look at this site. Process uptime 3 days, so it does reboot, but this is a 0.8.6, so this hasn't been updated for a long time. But it does very little. It just hosts this page and the blog and stuff like that, so there isn't really any need in changing, but maybe I should change it. So what have we got here? So this main, if we're comparing here, this main... this was back when this was... So this rolling thing here is HTML that's sitting in here. But everything else here is, you know, here's your link to some sort of... That's to another app. This is a... this slider in here. This one. That's the... that goes to another view. Watch that. That's a carousel, I think. Slides. Carousel view. There's a plugin called Carousel. And you pick a view on a different table, and then it does the slides for you. So that shows screenshot. Should we see that? This is very old. We don't have this warning anymore. Show screenshot. Yeah, let's edit this. Things are a little bit different. So, and then it has the... So this is basically a screenshot. Here is a table that basically has the image file and then the headline, and then it's showing here the headline is a field. And then this is the image, so that's a carousel. And that's it. So okay, so I hope I have now proven to you there's all more stuff. This is all like text, image. This is different. This is a feed of the example, so there's a table for that. And then these are like, so there's a certain amount of, you know, CSS here, the custom CSS, but actually very little. There's that top thing, that scrolling thing is custom, and then let's see, what else do we have here? There's a little bit of CSS. This is how much CSS we have. That's very little actually. And I think we have a custom CSS for the theme as well. And what is this? This is to get the fonts to load a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. Okay, alright, fine. I'll move on to the next question. Modules need more info or help as users cannot determine what they do or how to use them. I very much agree. Let's go back to our other app. No. Where are we? Yeah, I agree with this, right? Oh, this is because we changed to Google. Here. So I agree with this, right? I know that this is a lot. Some of these do have documentation. There's a link here that shows you. That's very little, but it was important to have some caveats for this. I agree that modules need more documentation. Maybe some kind of tags, you know. Maybe let me think about how we can do a better documentation system, right? This is something, because there are a lot of modules, and I realize now, and I keep on saying to people I work with, you know, we have this module for that, and people don't really know that. And also some of them are not overlapping, so this date range picker overlaps with flat picker. They actually both do the same thing. Sometimes you have some choice. So I think we should, maybe I'll look at some other platforms and see how they do the documentation for their plugin system. I mean, these kind of documentation links, most of them don't actually have it. So I should probably start by writing those, and at least if that documentation is written, it can move. So here, sometimes they're just links to external sites, but most of the time they're not here. Yeah, again, okay, here we have a little bit better documentation, but okay, I agree. We need better documentation here on the modules. Okay, when a release is made, can you provide a quick overview of what has changed from a functionality perspective? Yes, I think we also need that. The best way to see that now is if you go to the commit log. You can see what's changed. It's a little bit difficult to understand. But yes, as we go into post 1.0, I think we should have some kind of better way of communicating what has been changed. So we'll think about that as well and see how we can do it. Okay, let's see. Oh, we have a lot more questions. Okay. Hello, nuke a whale for Jesus. I would conditional formatting. Yes, okay, that's good. I had these questions written down. Okay, so conditional formatting in a list. Let's look at this. So what can you do? This is, where am I? This is not necessarily easy. Let's do this. So what do we want to do here? Some options here. Conditional formatting. So you have some you have some options. This is swapped. Why do you not have? You have some options here. Maybe not here. Maybe it's in the other module. So if you want a lot of power for this, you may want to go to the tabulator. So here we have some options that we don't have in list that maybe we could move over if people want to have that. So we have, you can do a color formula. So let's say if this is, I can't remember what the fields are here. We have age here. What's age? Okay. So now we can do, if we want, age greater than 55. Blue. And so now we should have. Yeah, so now, okay. I don't know what these colors are, light blue, something like that. Yeah. So you have the ability here to do a different color background. I think you can also here. Okay, so you have different things here that you can do. We have a heat cell. That's one possibility that you can use. Actually, wait, I don't know this. So now this isn't tabulator, but this works in list as well. This works in anything that has a it works in show as well. But this is more like if you want just that field. People use this a lot to show anomalies. It's not working. I don't know why it's not letting me. Oh, okay, so I can do this. Is that working? Yeah, so you can do. This isn't looking great. I think it works better on some themes on the show view where you can restrict the dimensions a little bit. So that's one possibility. I mean, what we really want here, I think, so what you can do, ultimately, you can go down to either text or code that effectively allows you to write. So here you can do, okay. So what you can do here is, if you want to do some HTML here, let's say if we want okay, so we want... Let's say you have something like... Okay, so here we can just do... So, let's see, what is this look? Oh, this was tabulator. I wanted to do this in list. But it's the same idea here, right? So here you can do HTML in here, I believe. I forget what it is now. For italics, is that I? Usually, this is also used for icons. Yeah. Ah, no, that's escaped. That's interesting. But I don't think that's the case in... Let's try that. That's interesting. So that's not working here. That's gets escaped. Should probably fix that. So, okay. So look, not a lot of options there. I was hoping that this would do with it. What you can do is, you have more freedom in show, and you can drop in a show view here. So you can actually have a show view inside the list here. But I think ultimately what you're looking for here is, some sort of field, and then you want, I think what I'm getting the idea is like you want this to be bold if, the age is, greater than 55 or something, and we don't have that right now. I'll try and fix this code that I didn't know that was escaped, so I will look at, wait, I remember now. This is actually, you have to do the different one, right? Do I still have this? Is it like you have to do this? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So now you can do... Now we can do backticks. Okay, so this is possible, after all. Okay, so here's an example. So this works. So you need backticks. So first of all, you need to escape. So we need to tell, this is the handlebars interpolation. We need to tell it that we don't want the HTML to be escaped from the return. So you need the exclamation mark. Then you need backticks in here, and then you need to put your HTML, and then whatever variable. This is just a JavaScript expression that can be HTML. And now, here we go, right? So you have italics if you're greater than 55 and not italics. So I think it is possible what you want to do, but there's some work here. What if we wanted to make it not, less work? I don't know. Let's think about, what, for me, the hardest bit, it wouldn't be so hard to make that possible, but the hardest bit is always to keep the user interface simple so that you get the ability to have, like, italics if depending on the variable or not. And I'm not quite sure what that simpler user interface would look like. So let's think about that. Okay. Yeah, you say to highlight fields or rows. So highlighting the rows was, we showed you that in the tabulator, and the fields is like you do this. Okay. All right, Mike wrote it already, actually, so that's great. Okay. And, the other thing is, of course, the show with HTML. That's almost the same thing. Okay, let's move on to something else. Looping over records and inserting new related records for each one based on the fields of the asset record. There was some... okay, I want to do some of the simpler ones. Okay, so capturing GPS location, we actually did at the last office hours. So if you look at that last office hour recording, the one that was last week, so probably like the 9th or the 8th of November, I covered that. Have a look at that recording. You need to install the module and then do the inputs. I just realized my camera has been covering up. I was talking about switching this one. But there was one here that I wanted to do, grouping records. Okay, let's do the grouping records, because that is, that was actually just been made simpler by something we did. We had that in Tabulator for a long time and didn't have it in List, but now it's made its way into List. So grouping in Tabulator has always been possible. Group by, I can't remember what fields I had in this. This is an options field, right? Oh, actually, I can now just hover over this. Okay, so here we go. So this is like some color options. So what I can do in the tabulator, if you want to group, there's just a simple field for it. Group by group. Okay. And so now we get these people are now grouped into this color that we had. Actually, I don't want this. This is the calculation summary. That appears to be average. Okay. So now we have it grouped here. Now in list, this has just been added. So this is the list. So now you can actually do a formula here. So now this is a formula here. So that is, I'm actually not quite sure why there's this space, but this theme doesn't have great these headings, but you can change these, right? So if you look at what this has its own CSS class, H4 list group header, and if you want that comes with all. So this theme tabler puts the I didn't realize they already have a class for this. That's why it looks funny. I just made this up, and then it turns out that's already. But it's actually not bad. They have a lot of rules for this. Maybe it's okay. It seems to have this space deleted, but that's okay. On different themes, it will look, they actually look bigger. If you're on the any bootstrap theme, this looks like a bigger group. So the fact that it's a formula, you can do have a little bit more flexibility. So, you know, what is this in JavaScript? Is that right? Oh, actually, that doesn't make any difference in this theme because they always put the headers, I think, on all updates. Is that right? Yeah, the headers always go on uppercase in this case. Okay, let's do something else. Okay, now I don't have. I mean, I could. You can do compound things, right? So I could do ID plus group, but then each group will only have one element in it. So I don't really have anything I can group by. But if group by was a join field, then I could use different aspects of the other table. Okay, that was grouping. That was relatively easy. I'm working backwards here because I'm trying to avoid one that will take a long time to talk about, and I'm hoping to come up to 5 o'clock before I have to cover it. Okay, updating the view state from an action to create a button that applies multiple filters at once. Okay, let's talk about that. Again, easy. So let's say I have a filter here. so let's get rid of some of this. I talked about all this stuff. This was all about applying repeats. Okay, let's say I want... let's just do it for one to begin with. So if you have an action, I think this is... What's this? Let's get rid of this as well. Now, if you have an action and if you set modify row, you can in fact type stuff and that will go into the group. So now if I do group blue. Oh, and we also have this toggle. Okay, let me deal with this. So all right, let's see this. So if we do blue here, because I put this action to modify the row, and modify the row sort of means filter state. I think we covered that in the last office hours. So this you're modifying. This helps you a little bit. Modify row has different interpretations and different. Sometimes it modifies the row on the database. Sometimes it modifies the form record, and this just helps you to figure out where. And sometimes you have a choice. So when you use this modify row action, then look at this. Oh, sorry, again, you can't see. Look at this modify where, right? So we have here row. So okay, so let me just modify row. Row expression is set group to blue, and then filter state is you need to make sure that it's the filter state you are modifying. So that works, right? So let's get a clear button as well. Okay. Okay, so now we can clear that, and now we can pick only the blue. Okay, so now that actually wasn't necessarily so necessary, and is also a little bit of a worse user interface, because this toggle here has a very nice functionality. So if we set this to, if we set the field to group, we set this to blue, then what you can do is, doesn't actually work so well. Usually, yes, because I'm mousing over it. But as you press this, so now it gets filled in when we've selected blue, and then it gets filled out. And so you can add one for each, right? So you can add, if you have different values of this. There's a plugin that helps with this as well, which is called something like Filter Group, that I have not used for a long time. Maybe we have a lot of stuff to go through, so maybe if you want to, you can play with this. I think this just gives you like all the values for this variable and some options as well. Okay, so actually this value was a little bit pointless, but I think you're asking because you want more than one thing to happen, and then you can't do this, right? So let's say we want. So what do we have here? We have, let's say we want blue and over 75. So now I have to try and get the right syntax. Let's do something simpler to start with. Let's say we want anyone called Sally and who's blue. Let's do that to start with. Let's get rid of this. I want to call this something else. Blue Sally. Okay, so now we've set two variables here, name and group. Right, so that's what you asked for. And you can clear, and so now we've selected two variables here. If you wanted anyone, which is a little bit more plausible, name, I have to see if I remember the syntax, age, let's say instead of blue Sally, we want anyone over 75. This stuff is covered. Let me tell you where you can find the documentation for this, if it works. That did not work. So I think we have, let me just get a little bit of help here. So what the other thing you can do is, so if we set this, that works, I believe. Why is that not working? Greater than H. Okay. I think sometimes it takes a while to save. There's a little delay to stop it from saving too much. So now it works, right? So we are again now selecting Sally, who's blue, but that's because she's over than or equal to 75. So that's if you forget what this is, then build one of the filters that does just the cutoff with the other one that we're using. This is above input, and that will show you what to set this as. Okay, I think that's that covered. Let me just see. Yeah, it should be greater than 70. Yeah, you're right. Okay. We've got another question. I'm still trying to avoid the one that will take a long time to cover. Is it possible to filter rows of C through the join fields based on the condition of table A? Okay, so if you're filtering based on join fields, this table doesn't have any join fields. What do I have that has join fields? This one has join fields. Let's build a quick filter. So now, if you have, oh no, sorry, we don't need, it's actually, there's no join element, but if you drop in field here, maybe it goes the other way. I think it's the other way. It's if you have inbound. So if you have inbound fields, yeah, you can filter based on those, right? So you've got here, you can choose a field in the filter, and you can do sort of various things here. The other way, if you have I think it does make sense, and I think we did do something about this, but I bet it's not documented. So basically what we want, let's do the other example where I'm filtering on a table. I think that's what the question is, right? Yeah, you said filtering B to A is not a problem, but I don't know how to write this. Yeah, okay. So I know, Sebastian, you've been doing this for a long time, so you probably tried the basics. So let me try and answer this. Let's first of all create a list on this. Wait, what am I? I'm on companies. No, I'm on this one, which has join fields. So that's the one I want to. That's all good. Let's drop that view inside. Just use the companies, right? That's the one we want. Okay, so now what we want to do, yeah, this is not great. What you can do is So we now want, let's see, let's say we want to show the entries in this table for let's say only for one company, Coca-Cola. Let's see, what have we got? Now this works though. So the select works. I think field does not work. But in select it does, right? Am I thinking about this the right way? So you've got a join field on my table, on my user company. And now I want only one company. I think this works. I think this is what you mean. Let me just see if he's written. Sebastian, maybe if you can just think about this. Otherwise, we can have a talk about this. I spoke to you a long time ago. Maybe we can have another call. I think this is right. Yeah, I think this is what you want. Here now, I'm filtering on this table, and I'm doing it by the value of the join field. If I wanted the other way around, then that was when we started building here. Then for some reason that's a field here. So again, now here I can do the filtering based on the fields here. What if you do select? Again here in the select I can pick. Oh no, wait. Is that right? Yeah, so here I don't have any join fields, so you can go both ways actually. It's just that in field, I think you don't have the join fields, but you do have the aggregation fields. When you do the select, this drop-down filter that you get by dragging in select, I think you get both ways. So hopefully that works. Okay, I think now I cannot delay it any longer, and I need to answer this question. Looping over records and inserting a new related record for each one based on a field of the asset record. So if you have, okay, so this is a very common scenario. So let me try and build this. So we have assets, and this is like, if I understand this correctly, then asset here will be like, can be all sorts of stuff, but it can be like a piece of equipment, right? And that has, okay, and now we want to create we actually have a project exactly. We have a project that has a subpart of the project that's exactly like this, but I didn't build it, so let's just try and figure it out together. So asset inspection. There's actually a whole sort of acronym for this type of software. It's like equipment maintenance something. Probably starts with an I. Okay, so asset inspection. So first of all, we want, which is the asset? Key to asset. So it's like you have a certain number of things that needs to be inspected at regular intervals. It could be, equipment, or it could be whatever you want to inspect, properties or something. And then we have a date of the inspection. Okay, so now, so let's see. So first of all, we want to know when the latest inspection is. So that might be a good time to add a aggregated, let's see if this works, calculated stored field with the aggregation. Inspection. Now I want an aggregation, inspection on field, inspection date, and latest inspection date. Okay, so now we have a field that says when is the latest inspection. Oh, and then we also want, typically here we want like, has this been done? We want to know, has the inspection been done or is it scheduled? So I guess one way of doing that is, well, let's do a done field. Let's not try to be too clever. And we will also do a, like if it passes or not, right? Pass. So it is like, you know, if the inspection has happened, you want to know, has the inspection happened or is it in the future? I guess the other way of doing that is to ask whether this is in the future. And then you want to know, you know, what was the outcome of the inspection? Here, I'll just do a pass and fail, but you can do like recommendations and all this stuff, right? So, okay, so actually let's go back to the assets. So, latest inspection now, we need this. This isn't just any inspection, it needs to be done true. Right. Okay, so let's start by getting some assets. So I will do big microscope. And that's it. And then let's say we've got an inspection in the past. And this was like 2nd of April, and it's passed. Alright, so let's say now, yeah, so we see the latest inspection here. Okay, now, okay, so I think this is the database design. So now what we want to do, we want to loop over these, and if the inspection was more than 6 months in the past, we want to insert a new row into asset inspection, and this has to be with that asset that is due for maintenance done has to be false. Inspection date, I guess we can leave that blank. So you can think about your database design, right? So the other thing, instead of done being a bool here, I could have made this blank. This it is optional route because I didn't mark it as required. But you could just do here. You could just say that this is blank if it hasn't happened, and if it has happened, then it's going to be filled in. So instead of inspection date, which could mean that it's assigned in the future, you can rename the field something like inspection done at. Very common in database design. But let's just leave it here, because this way we can set it to the future. So that way we can create those records. Then if that's not, then you can again loop through them and say, okay, if it's not filled in, then we need to schedule and we need to call the maintenance person. They're going to come out. Then you fill that in when that person has been allocated a time, and then when it's actually been done, then you tick the bool marker. That way, it may be scheduled, but the person may not show up and stuff like that. Okay, so now we want to know which ones should we schedule. Okay, so look, Okay, so look, you can do it manually, of course. We could create a table and try and highlight the rows that are old. That could actually be a possibility, right? So if you have a small number of equipment, we could create a tabulator. Where we saw that at the beginning of this office hours, that you have a red line when you have sorry, my camera. Maybe I'll just switch to the screen. We could do that, but we could also do it manually, do it automatically. And so I was trying to see, can I avoid JavaScript here? Is there anything I can do here? So we certainly want something that runs, we could run it daily. Let's see, what are my options here? I'm not sure I have many options apart from JavaScript. So, I'm sorry about that. If you were under the impression that Saltcorn was a no-code tool, often to do stuff, you just need JavaScript. We could use blocks, probably. I just find that so torturous that I'd rather write code. And I couldn't do that blocks in 10 minutes, but I can do the code in 10 minutes or less. I don't see any other options. I mean, you could do... If we really wanted to do no code, no, there's just no way. The other thing you could do is, what you could do here is overdue. We do a Boolean calculated field. So here we could say, try and figure out what the syntax is for whether it's more than 6 months ago. That could help. But you know what? I think I'm just going to have to write a JavaScript code here. So I'll do that. It'll be quick. And, I'm sorry about that. When we get workflows, it will be easier to do this. But we don't have workflows yet. So there we go. Let's write some code. Loop assets needing maintenance. Inspection. It's called inspection. Okay, and you can set which time of the day, but I don't really care. And we want to block run JS code. Okay, so now we're gonna write some code. So now this is running on. This has no table, so first we'll get a table. Oops. And let's get all the. Oh, and now we want to. I want to get the ones that are needs inspect. Okay, so now I want await table dot get rows. And we have this latest inspection, right? So we can query that, because that's a stored field, and you can query on stored fields, but not on calculated fields. Sorry. Okay, so we want latest inspection. Latest inspection should be less than. When was it you wanted it? What did you say? Or should I just make something up? I can't quite find the question now. 6 months ago. Actually, I won't do 6 months. I'll do 4 months ago. I think the one I put 4 months ago. Now I need to define what that is, right? Okay, equals new date. Okay, I'm just gonna do something quick here. There are better ways you can do this. Okay, I'm gonna be very naughty and I think it's set days. Set day, set date, the date of the month. There's no set day, set days. Yeah, it's set days. There's this. Oh wait, I can do months, right? Set months. Okay, the other thing, just Google 6 months ago. So, you can just do this, right? Let's just steal this. You're actually allowed to do that. You can just steal code from Stack Overflow, and it's all fine. There's a license that says you can steal it. So we can just run this in one line. Add months, new date, and the months is -4. Okay, I think that's correct. So then we got 4 months ago. One thing we can do is, if we just do console.log 4 months ago, then we will just test run it, and then we go. So is that plausible? sometime in July. That's plausible. Okay, so needs inspection. Again, let's just get this. Okay, so we've got one row that needs inspection. Okay, now we need to loop over those rows. It's such a shame in this we don't have sort of type completion, which is, I think we'll try and get this Monaco going in the next release. Okay, so needs inspection, and now you want to insert. Okay, now we need a different table. Asset, what did I call it? Asset inspection. Where am I? There. And now you just do wait. Dot insert row. Okay, so now you just need your row. And this is just back to the syntax that we use all the time. So what do we know about this? We just need asset. That's the only thing. And done false. Asset is asset, which is that variable dot ID, and done false. Okay, let's try and run this. Okay, so that presumably worked. Did I have that before? Oh no, yeah, I inserted one, so that's the new one. That's the one we inserted, so that works. Okay, so look, I know that was a lot of code, right? And I know you were promised no code. At least, and I also know that this is a lot of non-standard syntax. All of this is the built-in Saltcorn library. Again, get rows, insert row is Saltcorn specific. If you want some help, there's some broad help here, which links to the documentation for the table class. And then there's some more stuff about how you can influence the page that the person is on. That, you know, if you want to go to a different URL, open a pop-up and all that. But also, you know, we have this code here, which is about the class. This is actually great for pasting into Claude or ChatGPT or stuff like that. So if you just put this in your prompt, just copy this whole thing. I don't know how you get rid of all this weird stuff, but all of this, just copy it in. And then you can ask ChatGPT to generate the code for you. If you want to see how we do this, I was showing this to someone else the other day. We have this Copilot. We could actually just have used the Copilot as well. I don't have it set up here. Maybe I should. If you want to see the prompt that we use for generate actions, here it is. So you can just take all this, copy it into ChatGPT or whatever you use, and then just tell it to generate code. And it works. That works really well. So there you go. I think we're up to 5 o'clock. Okay, great. Sounds like people are happy. I have a party to go to now. No one will know that we've just released Saltcorn 1.0, but I will try to have fun and see you either next week or maybe in 2 weeks. And thank you so much for showing up and asking good questions. Just please don't go nuking any whales. I like the whales. All right, take care. Bye-bye.